The Clerk of the Senate announces that the Senate has adopted House Concurrent Resolution 2, raising a joint assembly to hear remarks of the Governor.
Message be received.
The Clerk of the Senate announces that the Senate has adopted House Concurrent Resolution 3, providing for the adjournment of the Legislature until February 12, 2025.
Message be received. Chair recognizes the gentleman to 60th, Doug Farrell. For the purpose of recognizing the Sergeant at Arms.
Mr. Speaker, President Randy Smith, and the members of the Senate.
Welcome.
I used to sit here, and here. Yeah, I want to.
Chair recognizes the Sergeant at Arms.
Mr. Speaker, the Chief Justice Bill Wooten and the Justices of the Supreme Court of Appeals.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House of Delegates, the Senate is present for the opening and publishing of the 2024 election returns.
Nothing else is in. Just Secretary of State is the only one right here. I beg your pardon? Secretary of State. After when they announce him.
Chair recognizes the Sergeant at Arms.
Mr. Speaker, the Secretary of the State of West Virginia.
The two houses having assembled in joint assembly will now proceed to open and publish the returns of the general election held on the 5th day of November 2024 for the office of governor and the other executive officers. Ladies and gentlemen, all members and guests may be seated. Mr. Secretary, welcome.
Of the great state of West Virginia, it is an honor and a privilege for me to appear before this joint session of the West Virginia Legislature. In accordance with the Constitution of the state of West Virginia, I am here today to present to the Clerk of the House and the Clerk of the Senate the certifications of election from the November 5th, 2024 general election, West Virginia's statewide elected officials to include Governor Patrick Morrisey, Secretary of State Chris Warner, Attorney General J.B. McCuskey, State Treasurer Larry Pack, State Auditor Mark Hunt, and Commissioner of Agriculture Kent Leonhardt.
Does the Sergeant at Arms seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, the committee to wait upon the governor.
We will wait upon the committee to wait upon the governor. Clerk will now read the results of the 2024 election for the constitutional officers.
Mr. Speaker, in compliance with Section 3, Article 7 of the West Virginia Constitution, I hereby submit the official returns of the general election conducted on the 5th day of November 2024 for the constitutional officers for the state of West Virginia, including a certificate noting those candidates who appear to have been elected. Sincerely, Mac Warner, Secretary of State; Patrick Morrisey, Governor; Chris Warner, Secretary of State; Mark Hunt, Auditor; Larry Pack, State Treasurer; Kent Leonhardt, Commissioner of Agriculture; John J.B. McCuskey as Attorney General.
Having received the highest number of votes and being duly qualified, I hereby declare the following elected to the office of governor and other state offices for the term fixed by law beginning on the first Monday after the second Wednesday of January 2025. For the office of governor, Patrick Morrisey. For the office of Secretary of State, Chris Warner. For the office of Attorney General, John J.B. McCuskey. For the office of Treasurer, Larry Pack. For the office of Auditor, Mark Hunt. For the office of Commissioner of Agriculture, Kent Leonhardt. A certificate of election will be issued to each of these elected officials. Chair recognizes the gentleman from the committee to wait upon the governor.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, members of the House and Senate, pursuant to the invitation of the legislature, the Honorable Jim Justice is present and ready to address the joint assembly.
The business of the joint session to open and publish election returns having been completed, I now declare the joint assembly for this purpose dissolved. The members of the Senate and House will please remain in their places. Ladies and gentlemen, the governor of the great state of West Virginia, the Honorable Jim Justice. Governor, First Lady Justice, ladies and gentlemen, for the final time to deliver his retiring address to the state of West Virginia, the Honorable Jim Justice.
Sit down. Well, first and foremost, this isn't an easy day, and it's a good day. It's a happy day, and I thank not only all of y'all, I congratulate Roger and Randy and Pat on their elections and many more. But with all that being said, now you've got more of a job to do. And I think you're going to do it and do it really well. You know, through all this, we pulled the rope together, didn't we? We had to. You know, when it came crunch time, we first and foremost wanted to do good stuff for West Virginians, but absolutely, we had everything in the world thrown at us. Plus the fact that everybody on the outside never, ever, ever in West Virginia slang could have thunk that we could have pulled it off. That's all there is to it. But we did, over and over and over and over. You know, you had grit, and we all had God above. You know, I always do this, and I really do this because it's the right thing to do. I give God credit for all the good ideas. I'll take credit for the bad ones, but I really, truly mean this. From where we were on day one to where we are today, we have had a miracle from God touch all of us. And you should never, ever, ever forget that. Now, there's so many things we can talk about here. You know, I really believe just this. And I wrote down one thing. All the surpluses, all the gains, all the tourism, all the roads, all the. You know what we did? Then we did this together. And you should be very proud. Every last one of you. All of y'all. Every single last one of you. You restored and gave West Virginia pride and hope. You did. You should never forget that. In all honesty, we're cooking. And we're cooking right now in ways like you can't imagine. Now, I'm going to just go through as quickly as I possibly can some accomplishments and all the stuff that we pulled off. And I don't know that I can see it real well. But one thing we surely did is we turned deficits to surpluses. You know, when I walked in this door the first time, if you'll remember, I was bouncing around here on whiteboards all over the place and doing all kinds of different things and sweat just running off of me because I was sweating like crazy back there. Even if it would have been 10 below zero, I was still sweating. And then when we got here, it just got worse. With all that being said, all I could think about is just this. You know, when Dave Hardy and Mike and Mark handed me the books, basically, and you know what the situation was. I mean, they hand me a set of books, and it basically says, you got, in the year that we have, and we have a constitution that says we're supposed to have a balanced budget, we're 6 months through the year, and we're going to be $219 million short. Now, and that isn't the bad news, Governor. Really and truly, the first year we're going to be another $497 million short. And a couple of years out from that, we're going to be $772 million short. What's your answer? Your answer was absolutely only one thing. Well, we're going to have to cut. We're going to have to cut and cut and cut more. And the more you cut, in all honesty, the more people left. And when they left, they took their revenue with them. And I knew that we absolutely had to do something because I have never in my life, I've run a lot of businesses, I've never in my life seen a business that you could cut your way out of the mess. You got to be prudent, you got to be smart, and that's what we've done. We've kept a flat budget for all practical purposes. But with that, you had to grow revenue. I got a living. So we came up with the idea of Roads to Prosperity, didn't we? And I hate to say this, but some of you probably thought bad idea. And probably some of you thought, there's no way that this is going to pass. And Toby and Edith out there, that I always refer to as the voters, stood up and said, nope, we want to go with Jim on this one. And we're going to go 73% of the vote, every county. It's unbelievable, unflat believable. A mandate like you can't imagine. And they didn't want their taxes raised, and really and truly we didn't. So we took off. We took off. And I want to just tell you just this, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I'm not going to be your governor in but a few more hours. But with all that being said, I just think, October the 7th, when Toby and Edith stepped up. Now they did. They stepped up and they said, we're going with the vast majority of y'all, and we're going absolutely with Jim. 73% of the vote. Don't ever, ever not celebrate October the 7th. because on that day, this whole state took a big turn of where we had been and where we had been for decades. Absolutely right then and there, we took off. I've told you this story many times, but I was in the shower. Block that out of your mind. But now, and this idea just hit me, and this is what I say the good Lord intervenes in all of our lives. He made you who you are for a reason, and he made me who I am for a reason. That's why truly in my life, and this is how I think, as long as he gives me breath, I need to keep on digging. I need to keep on trying to do anything and everything I possibly can. Because I think if I just said, well, no, hold it, I want to just go hunt and fish and just hang out and everything else, that's what I want to do. I think he looks back at me and says, I'm not happy with you. I made you Jim Justice for a reason. He made every one of you all who you are for a reason. And that's why you're here, giving up so much of your life, it's off the chart. And you do it over and over and over. And I salute you in every way. But don't ever forget October the 7th, because on that day, this state pivoted and took off. Now, there's so many things. You know, my notes here would say we cut taxes over and over and over. 27 times we've cut taxes. And we've cut taxes for cars and Social Security and child care and small business and retirees and veterans and on and on and on and on and on. And the largest tax cut in state history in regard to reducing your personal income tax. I would tell you, don't lose the mission. The faster you can get rid of your personal income tax in West Virginia, this place will flood with people and opportunity over and over and over. You absolutely, please keep your mission. Now, with all that being said, you know, there was a mandate. I'll never forget, I was on the Coalfield Expressway, and the road had been there, you know, it was 28 years in the making. The road, the initial grading had been done to the road from, I guess, Crab Orchard to Mullins, 10 miles. The mountains had been cut. The road had been laying there for, who knows, 10 years, grown up in weeds. And here's what I said, and I meant it. I said, I'll build the damn road. That's the approach you've got to take. You've always got to build the damn road. You know, at the end of the day, it takes some guts. And you've got to step out and do it. You can build the damn road every time. Do it. The other thing is just as simple as just this. Since that time, roads to prosperity, if you count broadband and water and sewer and all the different things, $14 billion have been spent in the great state of West Virginia. It's unthinkable. And think about education. I said in the first day of the state, I said, we want to make education our centerpiece. Well, why did I do that? I mean, for crying out loud, it was tough. I did that because we had, whether we like it or not like it, we had to change our image in West Virginia. See, we know how great we are, but the outside world didn't buy it. That's all there is to it, over and over and over. Education is so key. It is so key to everything we have. Don't ever forget. We got a long ways to go with education, but we've done a bunch of really good stuff. A bunch of really good stuff. Now, with all that being said, we spent $1 billion, you know, at the SBA and new schools or facilities or whatever it may be. Absolutely, we gave our families choice. For God's sakes, a living, we gave them choice. You know, and we supported Hope Scholarship and on and on and on. We absolutely did communities in schools with this lady's idea that, honest and true, you know, it was just like, well, I don't know, Kathy. I don't know. They were in one county, and now they're in every county in this state. I think 270 schools, over 110,000 kids. And if you really haven't seen communities and schools in action, I don't care about the national deal. In West Virginia, if you haven't seen it in West Virginia, you haven't seen something that you need to check out. It's unbelievable. They step up and they help one child. They help a child that may be disruptive in the classroom with all kinds of kids, but they help one child with maybe a jacket or maybe a toothbrush or maybe somebody just to talk to. And then along came the therapy dogs, and look what that's happened. Look what's happened there. Every time I do this, I get all choked up, but you've got to hear it. There's a little kid at Pineville. He's severely handicapped. Absolutely, he wouldn't come to school. He just wouldn't come to school. Now he's there with a little dog that's there, and he was reading to the dog. Gosh, here I go again. This is tough on me, this part. And we walked up to him, and we said, "Son, how's your day?" And he looked up, and he said, "Best day ever." I'm telling you, this program has really worked. So with all that being said, we have flipped the script in many ways with our schools. Now, we got a lot more to do. There's no question we got a lot more to do, and we can improve over and over and over. But the things we've done as far as choice, the things we've done as far as the SBA, the things we have absolutely been able to do because of the fact that we're economically so sound, it's unbelievable. We've done good stuff, and you should really be proud of that. If you'll just think, and I see Glenn sitting here and Eric sitting here and so many that have been really instrumental in really pulling the rope and making this happen. But the advances in economic development in this state are off the chart. Company after company after company is coming to this state right now. Absolutely, people that we would have never, ever dreamed of that could possibly be coming to West Virginia. And they are, over and over and over. You haven't seen the fallout of all the stuff, the tens of billions of dollars that have absolutely are in motion right now. And when they get through in motion, you won't believe it. You just won't believe the Nucors or Berkshire Hathaways or Forum Energy or on and on and on. You won't believe what is happening right now all across West Virginia. We got to just keep it going. That's all there is to it. Just keep it going. You should be, and again, really, really proud. And I congratulate, like I said, the folks at EDA. They've done a marvelous job. Keep up the good work. Now, I want to talk to you just 1 second about tourism. You know, when I rolled in the door, I think if Chelsea Ruby was here, Chelsea would say 4 years in a row, as far as folks coming into West Virginia and the number of dollars that they've spent in West Virginia declined. You know, can you imagine this number? Right now in the state of West Virginia this year, the visitors are going to, not in 2025, in 2024, visitors are going to come to West Virginia and spend $9 billion. $9 billion. Almost double the entire budget of the state of West Virginia. It is unflat believable. How'd that all happen? I'll tell you how it happened. It happened so simple, it was unbelievable. We became frogs that were proud of our own pond. And the world saw who we are. I told a bunch of kids at Appalachian Bible School the other day, and I would tell you exactly this. Do you realize, these kids, I said, do you realize what the moms and dads all across this world would give if their kids could be you? In this great state, with our great values, and absolutely all the good that comes from us, They would give anything if their kids could be us. Don't ever forget that. Hold your head really high. Be that frog that's super proud of your pond. And with all that being said, then all of a sudden, lo and behold, tourism just took off. And it's still, and remember this, it's still the parsley around the sides of the plate. There is so much more on this plate. There's so much meat and potatoes there. There's so much more. Tourism is a story that you just can't possibly imagine. The net of the whole thing is, again, just think, just a few days ago, West Virginia, gosh, it's so unbelievable. It's off the chart, but West Virginia, the #1 inbound migration state. Just imagine it. We were supposed to be that state that was so backward, should know your place, shouldn't absolutely dream big because you can't ever do that. We were supposed to know our place. And I hope nobody's here from Mississippi, but we were supposed to be constantly competing with Mississippi to see who would be dead last. I hope to goodness nobody's here from Mississippi. But really, we're not doing that anymore, are we? I salute you on this. Really, so much of this is because of our conservative decisions. You know, we stood rock solid for life, didn't we? And anybody on the outside that would wonder about West Virginia, you best better know rock solid. We stand for life in West Virginia. We told the world, don't mess with our guns. I mean, that's the last thing you want to do. Don't mess with our guns. We appointed conservative judges over and over. We didn't take a blind eye to the border crisis. Absolutely, for the most part, all of us should love and respect Donald Trump. I want us to all know just how important energy is. Energy in this nation, and I've done a whole bunch of stuff already in D.C. I was fortunate enough to be put on the Energy Committee, but I've done a whole bunch of stuff, and here's what I would say. I would say, you know, we have a deficit in this nation that's off the chart, trillions. You know, Tommy Tuberfield came to me, you know, one of our senators from Alabama came to me and he said, tell you what, he said, you don't really understand this job. He said, this job is this. It's the most unbelievable job in the world. You see, we got to figure out a way in this country every year to spend $2.5 trillion more than we take in the door. I think how crazy that one is. And then he just laughed. He said, and he was really sad about that. He said, it's the beatenest thing you've ever seen. Some way we got to stop it. But at the end of the day, remember what I said, you can't cut your way out of a mess, in my opinion. Now, there's tons of waste in D.C., and President Trump is going to take a meat axe to a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to be right with him, arm in arm. But with all that being said, we've got to find a way to grow our revenue, too, as a nation. The whole answer is energy. Say what you want. It won't grow anywhere else but energy. You see, at the end of the day, civilization has only ever progressed with abundant, cheap, and now clean energy. The only way civilization has gone forward is that. We're standing and sitting on natural gas reserves, coal reserves, absolutely all the alternatives, whether they be solar or wind or whatever. I say embrace them all. But for God's sakes, a living, don't be dumb enough to absolutely turn your back on our fossil fuels. Our fossil fuels are critical to us like you can't imagine. The thing I very proudly would tell you today, and this is absolutely the gospel fact, Donald Trump and I are real friends, not kind of friends. We're real friends. We're not acquaintances. We talk all the time, and literally, he is going to make it happen, and I'm going to do every single thing in my power to stand arm in arm with him, and I'll do it to my death. Absolutely, this nation better turn around and better turn around now, or we're not going to have a nation. We got it figured out in West Virginia. We know in West Virginia what to do, what's reasonable, what's logical, and everything else. It is amazing what you do. Unbelievable. But this nation has been a dog's blooming mess, and these last few years have been really something. And where we would have gone if Donald Trump hadn't been elected, I mean, it just absolutely blows me away. So with all that being said, just think about this just a second. Lo and behold, out of the clear blue nowhere, we have this pandemic, we have COVID, and nobody's got a playbook and nobody knows where to go. Some way, somehow, how'd we get through it? We got through it one way. We stood arm in arm, we pulled the rope together, we helped each other, and lo and behold, we got through it. Now, there's all kinds of things now that we look back on that we could change, but for crying out loud, nobody knew. Nobody knew. Everybody was doing the best we could possibly do, but one thing we did, West Virginia in many ways led the way. Little old West Virginia. That in its own way helped us for the world to see West Virginia. You know, I've said this a bunch of times, and I really mean it. You needed a head coach. I hope that you think that I've been a decent coach. Absolutely, but you can't win ball games if you don't have great players. And you were the players, and you were great players. You made me proud so much it was off the chart. Absolutely, I promised you a rocket ship ride, and we're riding that rocket like we can't imagine. We got a new governor coming in, and we wish him the best like you can't imagine. For crying out loud, please, nobody root for failure. I mean, absolutely, I think the world of Patrick and Denise, and I wish them the best in every way, and I stand ready to try to help them at every minute, and so does Kathy, so does my whole family. I pray that they will have successes like you can't imagine. I wrote this down. We pulled the rope together. We made tough, right decisions. You know, we proved them wrong, didn't we? We proved them wrong over and over. They called us hillbillies, but we proved them wrong. And now West Virginia, in many ways, is the envy of the world. I would tell you, keep it going. Absolutely keep it going. I'm so proud of you, it's off the chart. My dad would say over and over, it's been a real honor flying with you. It really has. I absolutely would wish you the best in every way. God bless each and every one of you. It's one tough job that you have, that I had, but you are the best. And you should always please remember that. And so as I leave you, I would say I'm very, very proud of you. I can't say anything better than what my dad would have said when he said, it's been a real honor flying with you. God bless you. Now sit down. Sit down, because Roger's kind enough to let me bring Baby Dog out here. So Baby Dog and Kathy and I are going to sit here, and if any of you want to come up and say hi, please do so. But I don't have any idea where she is. Oh, here she comes. Justices, I'm sorry. Thank y'all so much in every way. Come on, baby. Baby dog, last night, I got to tell you the story real quick. Last night at 10:30, she cut her paw on the ice and was bleeding so bad, blood shooting everywhere, and we ended up at the vet at 12 o'clock, stitches and everything. So anyway, nevertheless, thank you. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Craig, wherever you are. And God bless each and every one of you. Thank y'all. Okay, now I'm done. Y'all can leave. Are we done?
It's up to you, Governor.
I only got a few days left. We're gaveling out. I'm done.
Governor says he's done.
Thank y'all. Thank you for coming.
Keep in touch.